There is so much power in the word no. There's so much love in the word no. There's so much understanding in the word no. There's so much growth in the word no. No, that sounds like an oxymoron, right? Like, no, why are you putting such a positive words to the word no? Let me explain to you what I mean. Growing up, I probably heard more no's than yes. And when I was young, I didn't understand what those no's meant. I would ask my grandfather, can I spend the night over here? He'd say no. Can I go out with, such and such? He'd say no. Such and such is going to, the mall. He would say, I'll drop you off. And at those periods of time, I thought that those no's meant that you just didn't want me to have fun. But as I grew older, I understood that those no's was because he loved me. You see, a lot of times, one of the hardest things to do is really look at yourself. A lot of times, looking at yourself and understanding the things that you don't know is hard. At the age of 15, 16, 17, those no's felt like you were putting me in a cage. But my grandfather had enough wisdom to understand that those no's would bring me where I am today. I have kids now, and I went grocery shopping. And yesterday, my youngest said, Dad, are you going to go pick up something to eat? I said, I just went grocery shopping. Yeah, but there's nothing to eat. And I had a moment that I almost shed a tear because it brought me back to my childhood. See, when you don't define something, that thing defines you. You see, I just went grocery shopping, spent a lot of money only to have my son tell me there's nothing to eat. Now, me telling him, no, I'm not going to get nothing to eat. You better find something, here at the house. When you don't define something, he can grow up thinking, my dad always told me no, I never could have nothing to eat because you don't define something. So in that moment, I had to have a conversation. And I explained to him, why would I go get something to eat when I got all of this food here? See, the problem, you got too many options. So I had a conversation, and it was a moment of correction right there because I really started thinking some of us are in a position in life because of what we choose to define that word no to mean to us. You see, you can be right now going through a divorce, been divorced, broke up with your childhood flame, whatever the case may be. And you would take that moment and define that as a loss. But in that moment, that no is pushing you to what's for you. And where you mess up in life is you take that no and you wear it. Because now this didn't work out. You say nothing's going to work out. I'm going to treat people the way that they treat me. All men cheat. You done had two people cheat on you, but now all men cheat. You with a female and you say, man, all these females want is money. No, she just wants to feel protected. And you playing the PlayStation. You ain't trying to get a job. So now that she's leaving you, you have to take that moment and say, man, see, these women ain't nothing. No, how you define a no will dictate how you live life. You see, those moments that I couldn't get in the car with certain people got me here today. And my grandfather went out of his way to assure me that we weren't friends when I was young. He loved me, but he loved me enough to be able to tell me no. Now, once I got out the house, once I went to the military, we became best friends. I could talk to my grandfather about anything, but there has to be a boundary because you treat your friends different. So when I had kids, I let them know we are not friends until you are grown or you away from the home. Because how you treat your friends is totally different than how you treat your parents. Because there's the respect, or there should be a respect. See, when I was 25 going back home to my grandparents' house, there was just certain things that I still didn't do. There was certain ways that I still didn't talk. I couldn't even say dang. I couldn't even say dang. My grandmother used to say that's too close to the word. So now I'm in Japan. I'm in California. I'm in Florida. But every time I would come back home, those things stuck with me. And those no's became something that I adapted to my life. And that's why there's certain things that I still don't do. There's certain conversations that you just can't have with me. Because all of those no's, when I gained knowledge, my definition changed. It wasn't that you didn't want me to have fun. It was that you loved me. And that's why it is so easy for us, when things are going right, to give God all the praise. And I'm talking about even if you don't believe in God. When something goes right, why is it you always say, oh, I thank God? But sometimes you got to thank God when that answer is no. When you've been praying for something and you like, Jesus, I know if I this and that answer is no, you got to still give thanks because that no could be God protecting you. That no could be letting you know that you're not ready. Every no is not a denial. But when you don't define certain things, that no makes you believe that God ain't hearing you. And when you hear a couple of no's, guess what you start doing? You start leaning on your own understanding. You start having conversations to people that think just like you. You see, I don't want to be around so many people that not going to challenge me. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If you think that there's a better way to handle something, tell me. And I'm going to do the same to you, because there's so much love wrapped in the no if you define it properly. And there's so many people that are still focused on the no's that they heard in their childhood that got you messed up today. You could come from a home that there was domestic violence every single day. That's horrible. But then you get in your relationship and you're doing the same thing. And the first thing you say is, that's how I grew up. That's just in me. No, because you know how that made you feel. See, that's why we have to define things properly. If I didn't correct my son right then, 10 years from now, when he's talking to someone, he could be telling them, we ain't never had no food in the house, because you remember how you feel. So in that moment that I told him no, that's probably how he felt. I got a deep freezer, refrigerator, there's more than enough food. But because I said no for something that he wanted right then, if you don't define things how they are, it becomes a story. And that's why so many people in your life have a story that they've told themselves so much that it becomes the truth. And that's the worst place to be. My grandfather used to tell me, you can be wrong so long that you're right. I have people in my life right now. I'm dealing with something in my life right now that, it has been so many lies that they honestly think it's the truth. And what happens is you get sucked into that because you keep trying to prove to people the truth will always outlive the lie. So here you are focused on trying to prove yourself, to tell people that right. People just want to be entertained. I hope this video has blessed somebody out there, because there's somebody out there right now living in a no, and they have defined that no as a curse. Man, every time I'm trying to do something, nothing works out for me, because it's not for you. That no is protecting you. There's somebody out there right now that is looking back at a childhood and has nothing but negative things to say. But I guarantee you, if you sit back and really think, you're like, you know what? I can see now. I told my kids we are not friends. Now my son is in the military as well. So we're friends now. We can have different conversations. My youngest? No, because you're still a child and there has to be a dividing line. I have a son that is graduating this year, graduating with honors, but we're still not on a friendship level because there has to be boundaries, and me enforcing those boundaries is going to bless him later. So I hope y'all have a blessed day.